I'll have more details, though, in about 15 minutes.
Thank you, Carol. See you then. Good morning to you. First on main news this morning. The Liberal Democrat leader Nick Clegg is leaving his party's conference today and jetting off to address a UN summit in New York. The delegates he's leaving behind are weighing up his plea for them to stick with a coalition. Let's go straight to Liverpool and join Bill. Morning, Bill.
Morning, Sian. Well, it was Nick Clegg's first conference speech as Deputy Prime Minister, but not an easy task for him. Still a lot of hostility here to the deal with the Conservatives and, of course, the big spending cuts. And it's fair to say the response has been rather mixed. One backbencher described it as a missed opportunity to reassure his party. Here's our political correspondent, Carol Walker.
Cuts to government programmes are already having an impact here in Liverpool. A new report from the TUC says the North West is being hit harder than any other region in England by the loss of local authority grants. Government funding for this project, which provides training and apprenticeships to help the unemployed get back to work, runs out in March. And unless they can find the money elsewhere, this scheme will fold.
This programme certainly won't be going on if we don't get any more funding, because as a business we're not wholly relying on government funding, but we certainly couldn't train people for 13 weeks. So these guys really would not be here.
This is the right government for right now.
Yesterday, Nick Clegg urged his party to hold its nerve through unsettling times, to stick with the coalition programme of cuts to reduce the nation's debts and so reap the benefits of an upturn in the economy by the time of the next election. But not everyone in his audience was convinced.
Well, following his speech, I'm feeling confused for the simple fact that I don't know if that's what Nick Clegg really believes. Is that really what the Liberal Democrats stand for? That's not what they've always stood for.
He allayed my fears, and I have been, quietly on my own, one of the most fearful people.
Nick Clegg leaves his conference today to represent the government at the UN summit in New York on efforts to tackle global poverty. He's been urging Liberal Democrats to raise their sights, to focus on what they could achieve in government over the next 5 years. But some are still worried they'll get the blame for the deep cuts to be unveiled in just a month's time. Carol Walker, BBC News in Liverpool.
And with us here is our political correspondent, Vicky Young. Morning, Vicky. Well, has he done the job with his speech?
Well, it was pretty difficult. It was interesting that most of the speech was directed at the people in the hall. And what struck me is that this went beyond just a simple defence of his decision to go in with the Conservatives. He was really urging his party to be more ambitious than that, telling them to look ahead 5 years, if you like, through the difficult bit at the prize they can have at the end of it. So I think he's ahead of his party in that sense, and really saying this coalition is not going to work if we just hold our noses and muddle through. He wants it to be much more than that. But he, tantalisingly for many of the people here, left, of course, that door open to the possibility of a deal with another party, with Labour, in the future.
Something that's actually raising a bit more interest this morning is the story that's in the Daily Telegraph. I'll let you hold it there, but about this Chris Huhne suggesting that motorists and holidaymakers could face paying hundreds of pounds every year in green taxes to help a lower income tax. Is there anything much to that? Have they said that before?
Well, we do know that the Liberal Democrats are in favour of switching revenue raising, if you like, to green taxes. The question is how much they do it by. And of course, it's not necessarily true that they'll put it all on petrol. There are other ways of doing it. So it wouldn't be a surprise. It's just whether, of course, they can get their coalition partners to go along with it.
All right, Vicky, thanks very much. More from us here. Later, we're talking to Nick Clegg here in Liverpool at about 7:30. Back to you, Sian.
All right, we'll see you later.